Okay, I shall start this message with a traditional Mayday, 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 but frankly, I don't think anybody's hearing it. I guess I should use this as a sort of, how would you say, captain's log of our predicament. Sid and myself are two refugees from academia who have been thrown across the cosmos through no fault of our own. Essentially, what happens every time there's some sort of quantum event, both possibilities, or however many possibilities there are, spawn a potential another universe. While obviously, given the size of any universe, this creates infinite numbers of possibilities, we believe that they are only given form if a consciousness, which itself is a quantum phenomena, observes them. Therefore, throughout the endless, infinite numbers of universes we search, our department looks for extraterrestrial intelligence throughout the potential universes that we can scan. Once we find an intelligence or a consciousness that has produced a usable universe, a universe that we can project into, we realise that, of course, these universes spawn billions and trillions of other universes every second with all the possibilities. What we do is scan the multiverse to find a universe that has some form of solidity. To be honest with you, this is where my knowledge finishes. My job is actually to study the culture of the intelligences, or the consciousnesses, if you will, that we find. So, as each quantum event produces more and more universes, we feel that the sacrifice of one consciousness for our research is a price that we are willing to pay. Obviously, it's not us that are being consigned to the blackness that must come when a consciousness ceases. So, we take a copy of my consciousness and project it into the new universe, into a suitable receptacle, which will obviously be a consciousness that we can. So, in short, me and my team find a suitable host and project a copy of our consciousness into the host consciousness. The host consciousness obviously is evicted. However, since this is a quantum event itself, it does spawn a separate reality with us in the body of the host. Now I come to say it, it does seem a bit brutal, but well, I guess in all science, sometimes you have to make a sacrifice. And while it's not us making the sacrifice, it's the host. That's the way the cookie crumbles. So, what appears to have happened this time, however, is my copy of my consciousness seems to be been projected into a different. Obviously, there was a problem this time, though. Myself and my PhD student found ourselves alone in a consciousness that we weren't really prepared for. Obviously, something went wrong with our projection. and myself and my PhD student found ourselves alone. Uh, Although we brought a few essentials with us, a few molecular machines such as this camera and a communications device, involves entangled bits and sorts of other quantum nonsense that not only am I not prepared to go into, I have no real understanding of. Myself and my PhD student are in fact xenoculturalists, which means we examine the culture of the consciousness that we have discovered. Now, whether or not we've spawned in the right universe and have the right consciousness, I can't tell you. Preparations were vague at best, as they always are. But I have the feeling that we're not actually in the right form. We may have evicted a lower order animal and not the body that contains the consciousness that's keeping this universe intact. So, this picture that you see of me in the bottom right isn't actually a representation of myself. I actually look a bit more like this. But not much. A proper picture of me looks like this. Some work is required on a number of things. Avatars for a start. Sid looks like this. As you can see, this is a problem. I don't believe either of our forms represent the dominant species on this planet. What I do think is that we are some sort of, for lack of a better word, pets. Something that comforts and offers some sort of service to the dominant, what I can only call ape species. Either that, or this species has very carefully and cleverly fooled the apes into building them homes and creating a world for them to live in which case, bravo, but I don't think so. Unfortunately, this leaves Sid and myself in something of a bind. We cannot escape back to our prime fork, the fork of the universe that we come from, the infinite numbers of that universe. Our hopes of finding the one that we originate from are approximately zero. However, we are still academics, and as such, we need to fulfill our roles in academia, which means, well, reviewing stuff, reviewing where we live, reviewing all the cultural items of the dominant species, which means their media, their films, their games, their books, their pictures, their art, all stuff like that. Whether or not we'll be successful in this, I don't know. But all we can do is try.